What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. I want to focus in on the Calgary Flames firing Jay Feaster and Brian Burke essentially kind of stepping into that role. He's above that in the capacity he serves now, but he's going to step in, and they're looking for a general manager candidate, a new general manager. And right now, Joe Newman, I would assume, would be the number one candidate. And I think Boston Bruins assistant GM Jim Benning is also on that list. Doesn't say on this, but it's reasonable to assume he's done a hell of a job in that capacity with the Boston Bruins for the last couple of years. And it's time he gets a crack somewhere else. I know Buffalo. Talk to him about their vacant GM spot, and it could be kind of a gold rush between Buffalo and Calgary right now, trying to get a GM to help their respective rebuilding processes. And the one thing I'll say for Calgary is that they finally in the last 8-9 months bought into the fact they're rebuilding. I mean, it's kind of like an inferiority complex where they're missing the playoffs by 4 or 5 points and be like, we're trying to contend. If LA can win the cup as an 8 seed, it's like they were a 2 or 3 seed that underachieved and had one of the best goalies on the planet at that time for them. So that kind of argument is null and void. But there's been some kind of controversial decisions in Calgary the last couple of years. I mean, obviously, look at where they held on with Gimlet, and after watching the reception he got the other night, I understand why they did it. It's just from a hockey sense, it's tough to look at it that way. People like they should have gone more for Jay Bomeister. They should have somehow convinced Kiprusoff to leave and gotten a return for him. My argument is, all due respect to the Pride of Providence College, how do you take Mark Jankowski over Taylor Teravainen? The Emile Poirier drafting him over Shinkaruk was one of them that was like, how does that work? But I think he also made some pretty decent decisions at the draft. I mean, drafting Johnny Gaudreau, Billy Arnold, and John Gillies, all Hockey East guys. Gillies especially, I think, is the best goalie outside of pro hockey. I said that in my World Junior piece. This kid's phenomenal. And we'll see what happens with him long term. But it's tough to watch. I think they kept him around a year too long. To be honest with you, I would have let them go last year. But it's just the way they do it. And I think you look at the long and short of it. Maybe they should have sent Sean Monahan back to juniors this year. But hindsight's 20/20 with that stuff. He had a great camp and a great start to the season. But it's. I want to see how the next couple of years play out in Calgary because they have some pretty good prospects. And, obviously we talked to Monahan, Seeloff, I talked to Gillies, Klimchuk, those guys. I mean, even Poirier is having a pretty solid year in the queue. I still would have taken Shinkaruk over him, but, that's just me. If these guys, I mean, it's kind of the same way the Bruins won the Cup with a lot of O'Connell's players. I mean, very few roster players in the Boston Bruins were drafted by Peter Chiarelli. O'Connell's one that drafted Bergeron and Krejci and Lucic and all those guys. And I think it's going to be a similar situation if and when Calgary starts contending again. How many of those guys are going to be guys that homegrown guys, going to be guys Feaster develops, as I'm starting like a moron. And that's going to be an intriguing question, in the years going forward. But I think he should have made some better decisions at the draft and some much better decisions in the contract department. The Dennis Weidman contract's like, really? And it's questionable decisions, to say the least. But anyway, that's on this episode of the Power Play with CJ on Calgary relieving Jay Feaster of his duties. Stay tuned for episodes through the season and beyond. Later, guys.